How's it going, everyone? My name is Mase. You can find me on Twitter at CaliKing49er17. This is the IDP 100 podcast, part of the RPO Football Network. Special guest today, Peyton Buckley out of Augustana, free safety. What's going on, Peyton? How you feeling today, bro?
Pretty good. Just happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, seriously, thank you for coming on. Blessed to always hear about player stories and their path through life. So speaking of path through life, just go ahead and give us a little bit about yourself and what led you to end up becoming a Viking and playing, multiple years there.
Yeah, so I grew up kind of a small town in Wisconsin. Big sports family. My dad played football. My mom ran track. They met each other in college. And then I was the youngest of four, so I had two older sisters and an older brother, all played sports. So growing up, I was just kind of tagging along with everything, going to their tournaments, going to their games. And then growing up, getting into high school, I always thought I wanted to be a basketball player.
Really? What position?
I was point guard.
Oh, nice. All right, controlling it. All right.
So, yeah, I was watching Derrick Rose highlights growing up.
Yeah, him and Kirk Heinrich, right?
So, yeah, I wanted to play basketball. And then around, my junior year, kind of realized that football was probably a little bit more of my path. I just had a little more potential in football. My brother played college football, so I was lucky to get recruited by his school, which was at the time St. Cloud State, and then went there, joined him, and then after my first semester, they cut their whole program, so we had to find a different school, and I got to tag along with him again to come to Augustana.
Yeah, so what was it like being recruited twice? Was there a different process the second time than the first? Did you guys kind of learn some things? You guys got recruited together, so you guys were kind of like tag team the whole process?
Yeah, it was definitely different the second time around, just because it's something that's not a normal thing. Because they cut the program, there was 15 coaches a day coming into St. Cloud just recruiting kids. So some schools took a different approach, and they just offered our entire roster. And
dude, that's crazy because they're essentially just picking up the pieces. Wow. So then you guys it was 2019 that it folded, right? So immediately after COVID happened. So essentially you got an extra year kind of?
Yep. So yeah, my first year at St. Cloud was my normal redshirt year. And then my second year is when COVID was going on. So that was my COVID redshirt. So freshman year playing at Augustana was my third year of college. So I was pretty
that's crazy, man. Like Van Wilder style. So during COVID, what did you do to stay fresh? Were you watching film? You and your brother doing private workouts together? What was the mode there?
Yeah, so we were just kind of stuck at home. We built a little workout weight room thing in our lodge. And yeah, we're doing stuff together. And honestly, COVID was a huge blessing for me just because coming into college, I was not ready to play college football at all. I was 162 pounds, real small, real slow, real weak. So COVID was a big time just to develop. And during COVID, I think I got up to 200, 205, which is about where I'm at now. Got a lot more athletic, and it was a good time of growth for me. Got to focus on.
Yeah, all the separation and stuff. Just at least you had something to work on and focus on, because I know that was a dark time for many. So just talking about life in general, a question I pretty much ask every guy we have on the show. Football is kind of like a microcosm of life. What have you taken away from your life, whether struggle or success, that you apply to football? And then the opposite, what do you take from football away that you apply to your life?
I would say the biggest thing that I try to use in both football and life is just consistency and just showing up every time, regardless of how you feel, regardless of if you want to wake up in the morning. Just being consistent and just showing up's half the battle. So once you show up, you're bound to work hard, especially if you're surrounded by good people. So yeah, consistency and just trying to do the right thing.
For sure. Speaking of consistency, you have a consistency list of achievements that you've been getting every year from 2021, newcomer of the year, first team, championship winner. What is that? Where does that consistency come from? Where's that drive come from?
I would say just wanting to know how good I can be. Coming in my first year playing, I wasn't really sure how good I would be. I knew that I could be good. It was just a matter of how good. So really just trying to set new goals every year. Like coming into my freshman year, I knew I wanted to be a first team guy. I knew I could be. And then once I accomplished that, I wanted to be an All-American, wanted to be just as good as I could be, wanted to win the player of the year. I came up short on that one, but
close though, man. You were almost there.
One
of the finalists, but just raising that bar, that's really good. That's honestly probably what people like to see as coaches. And also that's kind of what you like to see in humans in life, man. People always reaching for, I don't want to say reaching for the stars and be all cliche, but like just really seeing what your potential is and getting yourself there every day to be able to put yourself in a position to achieve those goals. What advice would you give your younger self or maybe an aspiring NFL athlete?
I'd say the one thing that I would change is I would have found my faith a little sooner. So faith is something that's super important to me. But it took me until I came to college to kind of take it seriously and make it my own and really invest everything into it. Whereas if I feel like if I had that, even just throughout high school, I feel like I just would have been that much closer to where I want to be.
Yeah. If you don't mind pulling back the curtain a little bit on your faith and religion, your coach and you have a team chaplain as well.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a lot of teams out there that do have that. I know I was in the Army for 10 years, so we had a chaplain at all types of stuff. Do you kind of want to talk to us about that a little bit and give your church a shout out?
Yeah. So once I got to Sioux Falls, our head coach is a very faithful guy. And his home church is called Central Church, Sioux Falls. And their head pastor, Jeff Wheeler, is also our team chaplain. So he does devotionals with us on game days and stuff. And he keeps up to date with all the players and stuff that he knows. And it's really just become like the most important thing in my life. So above football, even above family, like my faith is the number one thing. And that's what I base everything else I do off of, or at least I try to, obviously.
Right.
Definitely has helped in every aspect of my life. Just to have something bigger to lean on, have like that firm foundation.
Yeah, having humans in your life that want you to succeed on and off the field, regardless of all the riffraff and all the media that's going on, that's really, I don't know, that's awesome that you have that, because I don't know if there's a lot of people out there that have structure like that. So to have that and take advantage of it, that's amazing. And I feel like everyone in their walk of life will come upon faith or whatever they choose to have. It'll all come to them when it does, and it's all for good reason. So, all right, let's switch to on the field stuff here. We'll talk about just kind of like where you line up on the field. Not a lot of game tape online or whatever. I saw some clips. It looks like you're pretty versatile enough. You played deep safety. You played nickel. You said before the podcast, we kind of talked a little bit. You said you played a little outside corner. Is there anything that you can't do?
I think I can do a lot. Just growing up throughout high school, early college, watching guys like Grant Delpit, plays for the Browns now. He's just a guy that they always talked about. He can do everything, and that's what I wanted to be as a player. It's something that I take pride in, is being able to be a physical run fitter, come and set edges against linemen, cover guys, win one-on-ones, be a ball hawk if I'm a free player. Just trying to cover every aspect and check every box that anyone would need from me.
Yeah, being that nickel guy, I love the first thing you said is go down and set that edge. Like, that's gritty, man. That box safety, that's one of my favorite positions. Now more so, it's kind of like a tweener in the NFL. I'm a Niners fan, obviously, from all the merch back here. But they have Mustafa and I forget the other guy. I don't know why. Brown. But they're both versatile where they play them deep end, front, and back. So I feel like that's a lot where the NFL is going. Colts kind of do that as well. So do you picture yourself more as a traditional free safety, or do you find yourself more free in that nickel role? So, I mean, you are a versatile player. You can kind of fit in anywhere. Where do you feel the most comfortable on the field?
I would say just based on the amount of reps I've taken at each position, I'd say I feel more comfortable at like a nickel spot. I think I'm capable of playing that free safety spot. I'm curious to see whether I would get the opportunity to, based on not having a 40 time for my pro day. I'm not sure if teams will know if I have the range or not to do that. And also it's just a complete higher level too. It's like 3 jumps up for me rather than guys coming out of FBS programs. The speed's probably not as big of a difference coming out. So we'll see what happens when I get wherever I'm going. Just try to prove myself when I get there and see what I can do and show what I can do.
Yeah, just keep raising that bar. I mean, all right, you want to talk about like the gap? What do you think the biggest difference is between a guy that takes kind of like your path and the guy that goes through FBS school?
I think the biggest difference as far as like skill would just be the speed of the game. That's what I've heard from people who play at bigger schools. And then also the offense and defensive lines, I've heard is the biggest difference. I've heard skill guys pretty similar. Obviously, there's a lot more guys at bigger Power 5 schools. Like they'll have 2 deeps that are really good players, where we'll have maybe 1 deep.
Yeah, for sure.
I think stuff. And definitely going to be like the biggest learning curve that I'm going to.
Yeah. So did you notice any kind of speed differential whenever you went to the College Gridiron Showcase? Can you talk us through your experience with that?
I didn't honestly notice that big of a difference. I was expecting to. I was expecting there and feel like things were just moving faster.
Yeah.
But really, I felt pretty comfortable. We didn't do any like live 11 on 11. The most like game like we got was doing Skelly 7 on 7.
Okay.
And I felt good out there. Like it was moving slow. I think just understanding route combos and things at a game like that stay pretty basic. They run smash, they run horizontal like concepts. It's mesh, basically everything I've already seen before. So even if guys are a little bit faster, it doesn't feel faster.
Yeah, for sure. They're probably just trying to get the bare bones of everyone so you can run what, things like that. Where were you placed on the field in those 7 on 7 drills? Did they have you as a deep safety?
So I played all over the place in that. We had a nickel player, so I played down there. I went and played free safety. I played into the boundary, like rolling down into a cover 3 look. I kind of went all over the place just to kind of show a little versatility.
Heck yeah, man. Okay, so what's your favorite scheme?
I like the 4-2-5 because that's what I've been in my whole career. So
okay, you just have the comfortability with it, or you actually like the concepts of it?
I like the concepts, and I just like the comfortability. I think it's good, especially with where the game's going. Get an extra safety on the field, someone who can cover guys, and then it's kind of that cool star position, like that Cooper DeJean, Brian Brandt. It's like
Minka Fitzpatrick, yeah, dude.
that can really like do it all.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot more NFL defenses are going with linebackers that can cover, and then kind of more of like a multitude of safeties. Even if they don't put 3 on the field at the same time, we're seeing like 400 snaps, 600 snaps, and like 800 snaps from guys. So definitely your skill set could be utilized. What do you think separates a good safety from a great one?
I would say understanding. There's a lot of really, really good athletes out there. Even at the College Gridiron Showcase, there's guys that are really athletic. But if you're really athletic, move in the wrong direction, then you're just hurting yourself. So understanding scheme, understanding the weaknesses of whatever defense you're in, understanding where teams are going to try to attack it, will just make you play that much faster, and it can make up for any athleticism.
Yeah, that IQ, man, it's a really good thing to have, but it takes a lot of like, I don't know, film study, things like that. Speaking of film study, how do you study offensive route combinations and like offensive tendencies? Are you looking at linemen in the backfield, looking for their hand placement, movement, straight off? I mean, obviously it depends on where you're out in the field, what you're going to see. But let's say you're coming down, you're in the box. What are you looking at?
I'd say a lot of it starts with just that week going into a game, just knowing who you're playing, knowing what type of team they are. Are they a 12-person team? Are they a 10-person spread the ball team? And then understanding packages like formations, percentages out of those formations. So that's something our coaches do a really good job of, is they'll tell us what percent pass, what percent run out of 10 personnel, what percent out of 11 pers, what percent out of 12 pers, and like every formation that they have. So just understanding that, and then once you get into the game, you know what you're playing, you know what package they have in, and you can kind of just piece it together from there.
Yeah, so you've been a consistent leader on the field. How would you define your leadership style, and how do you build camaraderie with your guys?
I would say my leadership style is definitely lead by example. I've never been a real like get hyped kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't yell very much and stuff, but just by leading by example, consistent, showing up, showing guys the right way to do things. I would say that's like the biggest thing for me. And then just building relationships is really just getting to know people, like caring about people on more than just like an on the field level. And just trying to be a good person more than trying to be a good leader.
Yeah. So you've played in 3 playoffs out of the 4 years that you've been in, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Okay. So what is that mental grind like going back every single season? And then after you get to the top, what's it like going back and trying to get after it again?
Honestly, it's something I haven't really thought about a whole lot. It's kind of the standard that we try to have here is that we should be in the playoffs every year. And even if we make it 2 rounds in the playoffs, we should have made it further. Like there's always growth that can happen. Because if you don't win the national championship, then you didn't accomplish your goal. So really just trying to grow every year, take the things that we struggled with as a defense the year prior, try to fix it schematically, try to fix it by getting bigger, stronger, faster all the way across the board, so that we could come back and just attack the next year.
Yeah. What's your favorite weightlifting music?
Weightlifting music?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm pretty much cool with whatever. I was never in charge of the music in the weight room. I'll listen to anything. We'll do Thursday, we'll do rap, we'll do like heavy metal stuff sometimes. Yeah, pretty much anything. We'll do EDM sometimes.
Oh, nice. Okay. So that's what I listen to. I'm in the gym, man. I lived overseas for a couple of years, so I got to see a Tiesto stuff and some festivals. So kind of just felt like that's cool. But I know you seem pretty chill and laid back, so I guess that's kind of the answer I was expecting there. What does a typical week of training look like for you in the off season? How do you stay up in shape?
In the off season, so we had everything pretty much set by our strength and conditioning here.
Okay.
Usually off season, we would be either lifting 4 days a week, running once a week, or we would lift 3 times a week and run twice a week as we got closer to like the season or spring ball. And really our strength coach is Brett Chambers. He's really good. He played at Iowa, so he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. They got some big boys over there.
Yeah, he knows what it takes to be a good football player, and he does a really good job of programming stuff that'll help us get better.
Yeah. Do you think you learn more from your highlight tape? Do you look at your highlight tape, or do you think you learn more from your mistakes?
I'm definitely a learn from mistakes guy. I think that's something our coaches do a good job of. Is even if you have an okay play and you do your job, there's always something you can do to make it even better, or just make it easier on yourself to make the same play. So I'd say for sure learn from mistakes. But then also just learn from other guys too. So being able to watch some of the younger guys playing, see what they do. Sometimes they know how to play things a little bit better than I do, so I can learn from them and try to just become as well-rounded as possible.
Yeah, that's a good mindset. Wisdom comes from no age, right? You can get something and put it in your tool bag, whether it's good or bad, and either do it or tell yourself you're not going to do that. So when you're watching your own film, though, like how critical are you? Do you see yourself falling into habits and you're like telling yourself not to do that? Or are you kind of more free range and you're looking at your reaction to maybe the offense and what you could do better?
I would say that when I'm watching film on myself, I'm definitely very critical, and I think that I can make every play on the field. Sometimes almost to a fault, where I start to reach and try to make plays that maybe aren't mine. That I probably had to grow the most in throughout my time in college. Is freshman year, I thought I should make every single play.
Hey, you had a lot of picks, man. It looked like you were making every single play.
I wanted more. Really just maturing and realizing that there's 10 other people on the field with me, and sometimes it's not my play to make. So
It can't all be top 10 plays from SportsCenter, right? Okay, so you've shown excellent instincts and coverage. We kind of talked about the pick sixes that you have sometimes. You've got great concentration when the ball's tipped in the air. What kind of goes through your head right before you execute something like that?
Honestly, not a whole lot. A lot of the thinking happens before the play.
Okay.
Once the ball snap, it's kind of react and go. And I think that's something that I'm pretty blessed with, is just to be able to play and play free, and have instincts and just be able to make plays.
That's got to be intense. You're just sitting there like going through all the calculations and variables, and then hike, and then it's just like clear, right? Like you're out in the sky, you're in the open, bam, you make the play, and then the sound comes back. What's it like hearing the roar of the crowd as you're either on the ground after a big play or while you're running down the sidelines for that pick six?
It's pretty cool. But something that our coach kind of talks about is you can't celebrate too long. Like,
no,
you got another play to play. And growing up, my dad always said, act like you've done it before. So I tried to not really celebrate too much. Just get up, get ready for the next one, hopefully do it again.
Yeah, that's like the old Barry Sanders mindset, right? Just give the ball to the ref and keep on going to the sideline because you're doing your job, huh?
Yep.
So have you patterned your game after any safeties in the NFL or currently at the college level, old or new?
Some of the guys that really liked watching when they were in college, Grant Delpit's probably my favorite. I talked about that a little bit earlier, but he's just someone who could do everything. He'd play up in the box in college. He'd go play middle of the field, cover one, and run sideline to sideline. He's really good at defeating blocks. So he's probably like, I'd watch his highlights all the time.
Nice.
Young guy. I like Jalen Petrie a lot too. Just more physical. Again, really good at getting off blocks. Just seems to always be around the ball. And then one other one is Brian Branch. He's same thing, can do kind of everything, always around the ball. He's a guy that didn't test the greatest at his combine, and it doesn't really matter. Like he's a baller. He can go out. He'll be around the ball regardless of how fast he runs 40.
Yeah, Branch is one of those guys that in Dan Campbell's defense, man, he's just like a perfect fit, right? I'm an IDP guy. That's kind of what I do on the side. Other than this, and all those guys that you just mentioned at one point have all been insanely good for IDP fantasy football, especially Petrie. I think he like broke a defensive back record his rookie year. Do you play fantasy football at all?
I don't really. I played 1 year. I think it was Ezekiel Elliott's like rookie season.
Oh man.
I had him on my team, and he scored me like a ton of points. But ever since then, I haven't really gotten into it. A lot of my teammates and stuff play it. I just don't really get into it.
No, for sure. Well, I mean, if you make it on a team and stuff and stick around, then there'll be people that are out there that are looking to draft you, man. So if that happens, I'd love to have you on my fantasy team, bro. But we're going to be rooting for you here.
Hopefully I don't let you down on there. Yeah.
No, you got to go out there and make every play, right? No, I'm kidding. So you got a pro day. There are some NFL teams there. Are you allowed to kind of give us any insight to what went down there?
Yeah, I think so. I did my pro day at University of South Dakota because as a D2 school, we don't have a pro day. We just wouldn't have enough guys, and not many scouts would probably show up anyway. So we went to USD, and I think they had 27 teams there, I want to say, what I heard. So it was cool just to be able to show that we can keep up with Division I guys. We're just as good athletes, in my opinion, at least the guys that we brought there. And then be able to talk to a couple teams, have them give their input, and then just try to test the best we can.
Yeah. So when did it like get real for you that like, holy cow, I could actually be walking into an NFL facility like in a couple months?
It still doesn't feel real sometimes. My path is a lot different than a lot of the Power 5 guys.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Go Power 5, you're probably expecting that from the time you're a kid, whereas I thought I was going to be a basketball player in college. So just the way everything's played out, definitely a surprise, but also at the same time, since my freshman season, I knew that I had the potential to do it. And my coaches have told me that I have the potential to play at the highest level. So really, it doesn't feel real still, but I'm not surprised.
How hyped is like your family, the people around you, your brother? Are they supporting you? Is he like working out with you and stuff and pushing you, or what?
They're super supportive of it. They're awesome, but at the same time, they're like, "Hey, we love you as a son, brother, whatever."
For sure.
More than as a football player. So, regardless of what happens with my football career, it's family. So
that's awesome. It sounds like you have a really good support system and people that actually care about you and your well-being, and that's what it's all about. Final question here, just to kind of close out things, Peyton. If someone had never seen your game before and you had to describe it to them, how would you describe it?
I would say well-rounded. That's something that I've always kind of took pride in, is being a jack of all trades and just being able to make every play that potentially could come my way, whether that's in coverage or in run fits. So I would say, yeah, well-rounded, someone who can do a lot, someone who has good instincts.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on, man. You want to give anyone a shout out or say anything last minute before I close this out?
No, just appreciate you having me on. It was great.
Yeah, would you come back after you get that big NFL contract?
Deal, yeah.
Let's go. All right, baby. Well, Peyton, dude, not just me, the listeners on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, all around, we're all rooting for you, man, and we're going to be looking for you come draft weekend. We wish you the best. Thank you so much for your time and for your story. Seriously, appreciate it so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time in the LPO Network. We're out.